Hey everyone, and welcome back to Talking High Performance with Belle. Today, I want to talk to you about something that I think quietly affects so many intelligent, capable, and ambitious people, and that is the hidden cost of staying stuck. Because quite often from the outside, people look functional. They're working, they're parenting, they're showing up, and they're getting through the day. But internally, they're screaming. They feel disconnected. Quite often, they feel flat, frustrated, and unfulfilled. But what happens is they choose to stay there. And they choose to stay there not because they don't want better, but because staying the same has become emotionally familiar to them. That is what they attach their identity to. And this is one of the biggest things I see in coaching. People say they want to change, but subconsciously they're terrified of what that change would require from them. And so they don't move because when we grow, it asks us to do things, sometimes disappoint people, make different decisions, become uncomfortable, stop blaming our circumstances. And it involves us trusting ourselves again. And to a lot of people who haven't done that for a while, that feels confronting. And so survival mode becomes addictive. And when people spend years overwhelmed, stressed, emotionally drained, or constantly busy, eventually it becomes part of who they are. And they stop asking themselves, what would actually make me happy? What do I want? What do I need? And they start asking, what do I need to do just to get through this week? What does bare minimum look like? And that's not thriving, that is surviving. And so many people are waiting for life to calm down before they focus on themselves, but life doesn't magically become calm. It involves intentional steps, it involves self leadership. And one of the hardest things about staying stuck is this: the longer you stay there, the more normal it feels. And so the harder it is to get out of it. So you begin tolerating exhaustion, emotional heaviness, frustration, lack of boundaries, constant self-neglect, and you keep blaming time when it's never time that is the problem. And eventually you stop recognizing yourself. And recently I was speaking with someone who said, I don't even know what I enjoy anymore. And I'm often talking to people who say the same thing because I think so many people slowly abandon themselves trying to keep everyone else comfortable and trying to keep everyone else happy. And you can look very responsible that way and responsible externally, but quietly falling apart internally, not knowing what it is that you need and you want. And so people stay stuck, not because they can't change, but because it feels emotionally safer. And that's really important because sometimes people aren't lacking capability. They're lacking the willingness to step into a different version of themselves and create that change. They're lacking the willingness to let go, to evolve, to make better decisions, to create better boundaries, and to choose differently. And when we think about somebody who's a high performer, they don't wait for motivation. They build self-leadership through intentional choices that they make, even if they feel hard. And they're not big choices, they're little overnight changes, small decisions, daily ownership, tiny moments where you stop abandoning yourself and you do this day in and day out. And so choosing yourself in those small daily moments matters. And it's not about waiting for life to calm down before you focus on yourself. It's about creating those moments of calm in your life. And that's really, really important to know. So I'd love you to ask yourself today, where have you become comfortable staying stuck? And how is that playing out in your life? Where are you surviving instead of living? And where have you slowly disconnected from yourself? Because until you can answer your questions, you can't move to your next level. Your next level doesn't begin when life becomes easier. It begins the moment you decide you matter enough to change and you want it enough. So thank you so much for being here with me today. If this episode resonated with you, share it with somebody who may need this reminder, somebody who is stuck and wants to change. Until next time, live a successful, purposeful, and fully charged life every day. Your coach, Belle.